Whenever a new season comes around, I check the world records for anything interesting that I would like to try. That's how I stumbled over this interesting maneuver. I knew that there were cases where it was possible to go faster on ice by bonking because it had been made illegal in some ice-only cups, but I've never successfully gotten a run with this in it. First, I needed to get somewhat good at the beginning, which starts off with this 90-degree turn onto the reactor block. We want to arrive at an angle almost parallel but slightly off to the right. You can see the world record holder Madison 9268 already gaining time here by starting to countersteer slightly earlier than me. The best timing I have found is to start steering between the logo and the ice. If you play in Cam 1, maybe look for the point where the top of the tires aligns with the transition to get the first input more consistently. Then we want to countersteer as early as we can get away with. I don't think I've ever gotten an attempt as good as the record, even though I tried a lot. Now, we lose our reactor and go into the first bobsleigh turn. I did try to get around this, but the reset is a ring instead of just a block which could have been jumped over, and there is a checkpoint right behind it, so I don't think it's possible. This means we actually have to play the map as intended. When comparing Madison's current record to his previous one, we can see the corner being taken in a rather different way. One of them takes a rather steep entry which causes it to bounce up mid-corner, and the other one drops into the corner at a much shallower angle. In the end, both approaches seem roughly equally fast. Usually, the best way to drive bobsleigh is to stay between the red lines while steering into the corner with 40% steering angle. If we would do that here, we would probably have a rather bad exit, and it's kind of hard to set up in the first place. The world record enters a bit steep, which puts this car above the red lines and gets us a better exit. Close to the end, we turn off action keys and then steer full left once the car has come down the wall. It is important to bring the rear around before crossing the red lines at the entry, else you will end up oscillating all over the place. We want to bonk at a rather precise 90-degree angle. If you over-rotate, release throttle, and if you under-rotate, tap brake. You can see me having to tap brake here, else I wouldn't have gotten my PB. You can also see that my PB has a rather bad beginning, but because of the bonk it overtakes the previous one. This is in spite of this actually being a bit tight of a line, which forces me to cancel my slide early, which will cost me some time. I'm still not quite sure what the ideal bonk looks like. In Madison's last record, he takes a very shallow line and then taps brake after the checkpoint, but in the newer one he takes a tighter line with a harder bounce. It looks like the wider line was faster in this case. In order to get a good entry into the next turn, the world record bounces himself off the wall. I try this as well, but I was a bit too slow and land on the horizontal section, which will cost me even more speed. Madison is roughly 25 speed faster at this point, and ice is all about momentum, so I feel like these speed differences matter even more than usual. We want to exit this turn by countering our momentum as we come down from the wall. Then we want to rotate 90 degrees and land in an ice slide. This actually turned out to be easier than expected, and I didn't need insane amounts of speed to get it. You should air brake to get the slide sooner, but it isn't going to kill your run if you don't. The world record taps brake a little to get a tighter turn radius, and since we have upper gear, we won't slide out as long as we keep holding throttle. It took me way too long to realize that releasing throttle would cause me to slide out in these cases, so don't be like me. Just keep going and your car will come around. The first ice slide doesn't let you slide out either, by the way. If you tap brake too much, you can still mess up your turn by losing speed or just going in the wrong direction. The ending is actually quite hard. We need to exit the ice slide so that we can pass as close to the road border as possible and hit the wall under the checkpoint. This launches us into the goal. Alright, I ended up only getting top 600 on this map because I didn't have a lot of time to play, and I'm not good on ice, but at least I managed to get a run with a bonk in it. Also, I hope it's clear that most of the comparison shots between me and the world record are offset so that you can compare the speed differences. At no point am I actually ahead of the world record. And that's the video. See ya!